Hello and welcome to Africa in View, where we tell African story and a variety of them too. My name is Nyamgul Agaji.
I am Aghogho Ayanagho.
And I'm Olamide Onwuka. What a beautiful day it is to be here with this lovely guys. I love the way you guys are looking today as usual. How you doing? First of all, Aghogho, what's the inspiration behind the earring?
You don't want to know.
I think I want to know. Nyamgul, you're seeing what is done in here, the earring.
Well, yes, she's a woman. Let her just be the woman she is, That's
impressive,
it. The world cannot go around or cannot survive if the woman is not there. The woman is royalty, if not be mouth.
Now we celebrate them, of course.
So as we celebrate you and we celebrate Mother's Day like 40 in a year, we still respect you.
Of course we do.
And hope that the next generation of women will be good enough, because right now, well, let's not delve into that because there's so much to talk about.
Actually.
New generation woman nowadays. Anyway, today we'll be talking about insecurity. Maybe that's why I'm afraid. Let me not talk too much and get my head smashed. We're talking insecurity on the show this morning. We also are going to take you on sightseeing as usual. Today we'll be looking at the pyramids of Giza. So I don't know how far you know about them. And if you're planning to travel, where do you want to go? That holiday that you're planning to take, that vacation that you're planning to take, where are you going? Last time we talked about Zuma. We're hoping that you are also going to pick an interest in the pyramids after this show. But first of all, let's take the news for the day.
UK-based Nigerian doctor filmed selling jobs to foreigners. A UK-based Nigerian doctor, Dr. Kelvin Alanime, was secretly filmed by the BBC allegedly selling fake UK job opportunities to foreign nationals through his agency, Career Edu. Alanime denied the allegations, insisting he has never scammed anyone and vowing to sue the BBC for defamation. Central Bank of Nigeria report confirms inflation crisis under Tinubu government. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has attributed the country's rising inflation, which reached 34.80% in Q4 of 2024, to insecurity, infrastructural deficits, and rising energy costs. However, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) reported a decline in headline inflation to 24.48% in January 2025, citing all inflation basket rebasing, though many Nigerians still struggle with high living costs and worsening security challenges. Zimbabweans stay at home amid fears demonstrations could turn violent. A heavy security presence in Zimbabwe prevented large-scale protests against President Emmerson Mnangagwa's alleged plans to extend his rule beyond his final term. While most businesses in Harare and Bulawayo shut down out of fear, small groups of protesters were dispersed with tear gas as war veterans accused Mnangagwa of corruption and urged Vice President Constantine Chiwenga to take over. Uromi residents desert towns over fears of reprisal arrest. Following the lynching of 16 travelers in Uromi, Edo State, residents have fled in fear of reprisals and security crackdowns, leaving communities deserted. Governor Monday Okpebolo assured justice for the victims as 14 suspects were arrested and are set to be moved to Abuja for further investigation. Naira for crude. FG Dangote is set for talks as refinery imports 12.6 million barrels. The federal government may extend the Naira for crude policy as discussion for renewal continue, following its impact on fuel prices and foreign exchange rates. Meanwhile, the Dangote refinery, which processed about 400,000 barrels per day in 2025, has begun sourcing crude from Brazil and Equatorial Guinea due to domestic supply challenges. Breaking: protests erupt in Benue State over constant herdsmen's killings as residents chant, "We no go gree." Thousands of residents protested against escalating herdsmen attacks and kidnappings, blocking roads and demanding urgent government intervention. Meanwhile, in Benue State, residents of Olena fled after days of violent attacks with no security response, as reports warn of increasing pastoral violence spreading across Nigeria. Kenya inflation rises to 3.6% in March. Kenya's statistics official has said that Kenya's inflation rose to 3.6% year-on-year in March from 3.5% a month before. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, in a statement, on a monthly basis, inflation was at 0.4% in the month of March.
Thanks for staying with us. Interesting headlines there. I would have loved us to talk about the ones that border on insecurity, but maybe we just save that for our main topic for today, because we are concentrating on insecurity in Nigeria this morning. But what other headline struck me was the problem in Zimbabwe. What is it with extension of tenures where people, ancestors, do not want to leave the seat?
For me, I see it as, that entitlement feelings that has come to be synonymous with African leaders. I mean, it almost happened in Nigeria during Obasanjo time when he tried to push for the third term before it was, dispelled. Look at Paul Biya in Cameroon. I mean, before he died, we all know Robert Mugabe, how he was. And you look at a lot of things that has happened in different parts of Africa, and you ask yourself, why does it have to be Africa? You know, it's a 4-year tenure. Why are you trying to extend it beyond
They even
the 4
have
year?
5-year tenure
So
in
I'm
Zimbabwe.
just saying, like, I'm looking, giving an example, and then you know it's time for you to go, but you're looking for something, which is why you see that you have coup happening in some places in Africa. It's crazy.
It's
power corrupts.
it's
Absolute
really
power.
it's really
corrupts.
debilitating because, okay, President Tinubu is 71 years. When I was trying to read up on some of the stories, and they wrote 71 years and did a question mark anyway, but he's like one of the youngest presidents in Africa. When you talk about civilian ruled democracies in Africa, he's like one of the youngest.
Of course.
Apart from the Senegalese president that is about 42 years or 44 years or something thereabout, every other one that is below 50 is a military head of state in Nigeria.
Head of state.
So you go to Mali, you go to all the countries that are led by the military, they are 40, the average age is 42.
And look at the
But
revolution
everyone that is a
happening
democracy in
that country.
Africa is 91, 82 and all that. They're usually people who are they were born between 1937 and 1942. They're still in power.
They are not giving the leaders of tomorrow time.
Tomorrow never comes.
Tomorrow doesn't come like that.
So I don't think Africans actually were told what democracy really is, or they explained it to them, because you can't tell me you're running a democratic government and you have been in power for 42 years. And I've forgotten a country where the father is the president, the son is, was it chief of staff or something, but being groomed to take over from the father, who has already been on that seat for like 30-something years.
Right now, there's a military head in Chad that took over from the father because the father died.
So is there really democracy in Africa?
And my problem with democracy is that they have changed the definition of democracy to mean building infrastructure.
It's not even a system that suits Africa. I mean, look at the concept of democracy. A certain school of thought will argue that this is a concept that was imposed upon Africa by the West.
Yes.
This, for me, look at the system that works best in Africa. What happened to our monarchical system?
Yeah.
Why don't we have kings rule Nigeria? rule their parts. Right?
Nigeria.
I mean, we can have other systems that will favor this country. It's not a must that we adopt a democratic system of government.
My problem is not with the democracy. We practice democracy in Africa even before the whites came. It's that type of democracy that I do not understand. But even then, democracy is giving people the chance to air their views. You respect their views. In Igbo land, they had that. In so many other places, they had that. Elders were the ones that were doing everything. But they will go to the community square. They will have a meeting. People will contribute. And they decide on what to do. But here, like I said, the definition has changed from the voice of the people, because that's a true democracy, to infrastructure. And that doesn't make sense.
It's not
the third mainland bridge was built by the Babangida administration. That was not a democracy. But the infrastructure was still there. Infrastructure is governance. Governance is different from democracy. If it is democracy, it's the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And that means they contribute to what goes on. But here, you just do what you feel and you say nothing will happen.
I also feel like partly because of, the apathy that people have shown to governance. Over the years now, you'd see people say, oh, look, what will be. Even if I vote, even if I do this.
Yeah.
But, you can't blame people for not trusting a system that has repeatedly failed. A system that has been rigged, and it's visibly rigged. People already understand that, look, maybe I can't change the system. That's why if you put somebody in a position of power, trust me, they would want to shape in just like the people who have been there.
It's going to
If you don't join them, you can't beat the system. It is what it is, and we just have to face the reality.
It's just going to take revolution for things to change.
I don't even think revolution You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's like you just said. It's still like, it's not even 50-50. It's more like 60-40, 70-30.
This is the same set of people who are already in the system pushing for revolution.
They are pushing for revolution, so they will now become at the helms of affair and then continue where the former one stopped.
Now, like the Bible said, do we continue to sin that grace may abound? Can we give up on our country? Because that is what worries me. I'm not sure we should give up, no matter how bad it is. We've had in this very bad Nigeria, governors, or at least a governor, which maybe we don't need to even mention his name.
I think we all know.
A governor that has left the government and left money, which is...
And was questioned.
Left money in the coffers of government. He was
questioned. Why would he do that? He's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to leave the coffers empty.
Bottom line is, we can still have pockets of this. We've had an Akunyele in this bad system. We've had an Akunyele. We've had the Okonjo-Iweala who's making us proud. We've had Akiwumi, the AFDB president. When he was Minister of Agriculture, farmers felt it. I come from an agrarian community, and he did exceptionally well in the same system. So if we can have people like that, pockets of them, maybe someday the revolution may not even be carrying clubs and every other thing. The revolution will be what could have happened if we had the right tools in 2023, because it was close.
Hope is something that people should not stop hoping. It's something that people should always have. I believe in Nigeria. I mean, and I know that there's hope for the country in the years to come.
Okay, yeah. And then it's really, I don't know whether to sympathize or whether to just wait and see what the outcome will be. The UK doctor that was accused of selling fake jobs and all that, he has denied it. But I also have a question with the modus operandi of BBC and some media houses. Sometimes you set somebody up. That may be a theory, but it looks at some point like some people are being set up so that the reportage will look credible, so that they can get whatever information they want to pass out, and then it goes viral. At this time, I'm not playing the devil's advocate for anybody. I'm not speaking for anybody, but I just don't like the way sometimes the stories they put out and say it's investigative journalism or something, or report, the way they put out those stories, I think just some people are being set up. And I think we should just wait, instead of condemning our person or anybody at all that has been indicted by a media house that wants people to watch them. we should just wait and see, let all the facts come out, and let's know whether he's really a criminal or not.
Exactly. For me, that's what I think the best thing to do is. I think that's actually the best thing. Wait for the matter is before the court. So let's hope that the facts will eventually come out, and then justice will be served. If found guilty, convicted, and if found free, acquitted. That's what I'm expecting from the case.
Okay, well, we will just take a short break, and when we return, we'll be talking insecurity in Nigeria. We are going to be joined by a guest that will help us make sense of what is happening in our country right now and maybe proffer some solutions. Just stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. We're now going to talk insecurity, and we're being joined by our guest this morning. And our guest is Valentine Idaewor. And he's a security expert. He's studied from so many places, and he holds a lot of credentials if you're talking about security. It's a pleasure having you this morning, today rather. Valentine, welcome to the program.
Thank you. So I really appreciate you bringing me on board. Thank you.
Okay. So we have security situations in so many places in Nigeria. We'll start with the reason behind all these security problems that we're having in Nigeria. What is giving rise to all these security problems that we're having? Because even when the government keeps saying that banditry has been given the back seat, terrorism is no longer the way it used to be and all that, we seem to see lots and lots of these things resurfacing in places like, for instance, the Uromi people are now in hiding in their own land. The Benue people are protesting because of one thing or the other. You go to a Nugu community, large expanse of land, the indigens have been sacked and all that. So what really are the factors that we may be missing that are giving rise to insecurity in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I don't know if you can hear me loud and clear.
Loud and clear, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, good morning. Before I proceed with the question you asked me, we need to set foundation. Firstly, what is security? Before we can then talk about insecurity and what led to agitating, right? So, what is security first? Security generally it's a state of being free, danger, threats as a citizen, right? Then, when you now talk about insecurity, it means there is an open space where threat comes in and where they comes in. So, and there's lack of confidence now. So that is security. Amenities by the government to the people, right? And basic amenities or basic responsibilities, and that you ensure that your citizens are safe. That is why we have the police, and that was why the police was created. And there is a slogan that goes this way: to serve and to protect us, right? Then we also have these slogans where let me just give just a narrative. One is sleeping and you wake that person up, he or she will wake up. But when someone pretend to be sleeping and you wake the person up, he will be laughing while sleeping. Right? So what's my point? My point is either the government are really not in awareness of what's happening, or they are not just knowing, or I don't want to use the word blind, but they are just not knowing. Why am I saying so? This is it, that in every commission of crime, there are proactive measures you use to stop other crimes to come on board. Because the policy put in place for proactive measure. And what is policy? Policy is a principle of action taken by the government So if there is proactive measure, that's one. Then secondly, investigative system of police is I won't say it's totally poor, but I will just give a middle percent, 50%. So if all these are out of upon, citizens will have no cause to come out because there is no smoke without fire, or rather, there is no crime. There isn't. So before I answer this question back again, we need to ask ourselves the importance of the NSA, the National Security Advisor. What are the importance of the Minister of Defense? So if we can answer these two questions I mentioned, I think we'll go a long way to stop insecurity. Firstly, the National Security Advisor coordinates, right? It helps to coordinate national matters as principal advisor to the president. Then what about the Minister of Defense? Minister of Defense manage the Nigerian armed forces and ensure that they are combat ready. Question is, let's be honest to ourselves. Are our troops combat ready? If you ask, I said no. As an expert, as a security expert, we can't continue to fight the enemy with what the enemy have. Right? We have to use intelligence. I've said this before that you don't win an enemy if you don't have 100 intel about your enemy. You need to know who is funding them. You need to know their army. You need to know their populations. You need to know a lot of things about your enemy before you strike your enemy. And when you strike your enemy, you need to have formats or tactics moves. What we call attack to attack. You don't wait for them to attack before you repel. You attack to attack, or you defend to attack. So,
Valentine, can you hear me? The points you're raising are very important, but we'd like to go into specifics because we might not have that much of time that we'll discuss this in details. We have problems, especially in Uromi, for instance, Ayanagho, Benue, and all that. Let's try to address these ones. As an expert also, not only in criminology and security, is international relations as well. What will be the best approach to this problem of Uromi killings? Because it's now become a very complex thing. While the Northerners or the Kano State people are calling for the heads of these people who perpetrated this, we don't support that because nobody supports jungle justice. No matter whether these people were criminals or not, those people who killed them had no right killing them. They should have taken them to security operatives, but the deed has been done. Now the Kano indigenous, not government now, are calling for the heads of these people. The government is calling for these people to be paraded, even when the police has just come out to say that no more parading of suspects until when they are convicted, they go to prison or firing squad or whatever it's going to be. The people of Kano are threatening fire and brimstone that they are going to retaliate. People who are living in the north are going to have it very bad with them. And people in the south are beginning to call for justice for the Deborah that was killed in the same north without anybody being arrested and all that, which means it's a dicey situation that, if not handled well, might snowball into something that we may not be able to handle. So in your capacity as an expert in international relations and then an expert in security, what will be the best way to handle this issue?
okay, before the way handling this, we need to understand that a lot of things happen due to root cause, right? We can't just surfacely handle issues when we don't trace, just like investigation. Investigation, there are basic way of investigating and getting evidence, but if you want to go deeper, then that's where you have forensic approach, right? Now, my own way of answering your question, first, there is a lost trust in policing. There is a trust, or there's no trust in the judiciary system. There is no trust, even within the country, and there is no trust in the system. So, this, if we look into it, like in the 5 pillar, there's what we called the criminal justice system. There are five. I'll just mention it, then I'll answer your question. So one is the enforcement. If there is a problem in that capacity, then the trust of the citizen is breached. The second is the prosecutor. The third is the court. The fourth is the prison system, which is criminal justice pillar. Because that part has to correct, to rehabilitate and all that. Now, coming back to the last part of the five pillars is the community. People now being sent from prison to the community. Now, people want to see justice, but that God is don't know one or question mark. When the community agitate or is a crime or there is a mission of crime, and the mode and manner being handled on that incident plays a show for many other people watching, because people are watching. That is why I said proactive measure play a role in fighting insecurity. Then the other part is the investigative system. Now, what happened in Uromi is very bad, but just as I said, nothing happened. And the reason, probably, to hear them very, being honest, if you watch the clip very well, what they did was very bad. But listen to it, it was a miss. If you want to interpret it, it was a misidentity because of past occurrence. You get the point? Because of past occurrence. And this has been happening day in, day out, day in, also from different communities across the states. So, because they checkmate those or there are punishing crimes in Nigeria, then people feel the wrong and it is not the way to take law into hands. So my question now, or my point, put in place. Well, the implementations are the problem. What are the laws put in place to checkmate or guiding people with fire, whether dome or whichever? What are the laws guiding it from one location to another? What are within the vigilante groups? Who are heading them and how are they being formed? Who is training them and what are the measures? What are the techniques in using in training them? Now, this is it. If we understand this, it's a long way in solving insecurity. For example, in the Western world, there's what we call the local police or the community policing. How do they come about that? They use the community people. And I want to suggest that if only we can use, because I know the function of councillor of every community, the chairman of every local government, if they can work closely with the vigilante and they serve as a reporter down to the government house, it will go a long way to let people know, okay, there are tears, there are people crying, people are dying, but the question is, what are the measures to stop it? So if there are no measures to stop it, now that goes back to what the DSS DG said. It said security is you first. It is from you. Then how do you come about to save yourself? Yes, we understand that people may not take law into their hands. It's very wrong, but how can we reduce that? It is only when the government play a key role and the judiciary system play its own key roles in apprehending who ought to be apprehended and sentence those who ought to be sentenced. Then the community will feel relaxed and not take law into their hands because they know the precaution of taking law into their hands.
Hold on. Yeah, okay, Olamide,
right.
you have something
hi,
to say.
Valentine. So I feel like we've heard a lot of, we've seen a lot of follow-up stories coming up, people talking boldly from the north, saying that there's going to be reprisal attack. From future cases, we know that there are lots of undertone now that we can identify or link to this case. There's a religious undertone. Yes. There's an ethnical undertone. There's a political undertone. As a security expert, don't you think that this can actually go out of hand? Or do you think
Exactly.
that there could be a reprisal attack? Because people in Uromi, the residents of Uromi, they're already running and leaving their community. Don't you think that this might actually go out of hand and eventually become something bigger than it already is? Do you think it can do that? It can happen?
It's not left for the government approach, right? So asking me, it's dicey, right? As an expert, because depends on the policy in place. That is why I said the problem we have is our policy law. Now, if there are laws handling cases like this, then the citizens will go back. Yes, it is wrong. But there was a clip I watched where a citizen is telling the president he gave him 48 hours, not just to produce the criminals or the culprit or the offenders, but rather to have a mock shot of them, each stating what they did or the role they play. If you liked the matches, put on the mock shot, you liked the matches. You understand? Now, after 24 hours, the person came home again and said, now we have exhausted 24 hours. We're giving you more 24 hours out of the 48 hours. Now, imagine if we have a law that handles cases like this and address it, the city satisfied. No one will question president or the security agency to do their work. Now, when a citizen is inspecting and telling you to do something, it means it's either you competent, sorry to use the word, or you are just not knowledgeable about what is happening, so they are reminding you. So in other words, leave that part for the security architectures and agency to handle that. Religion has a key role in that, especially
problems with the audio. Thank you very much, Valentine. Thank you. I wish we could take more from you. You've made very valid points. You've defined what security is, and you've suggested some things that we need to do. We'd like to thank you for your time today, that you came here and shared your thoughts with us. Thank you so much. Yeah, I know that Aghogho, you were yeah. Aghogho, I know that you were dying to ask him a question, but I needed us to just use the remaining time to see how to talk about how we see this issue. Because if we had time with him and the audio was good enough, yes, we could have gone all and all, would have been asking him this question. But first of all, there are so many things, like you said, there are undertones that are there. There are political, ethnic, and religious, and all that. And then I'm asking myself the question, if someone can openly come out, because at the time of Deborah, when she was killed, people came out on the internet, online, and they were making videos, and they were happy about it. Yes.
They tried to rationalize the killing.
Yes. They're rationalizing it.
They're still rationalizing it till now.
In a country that is supposed to have one law, there is another law which they are trying to bring to the Southwest anyway.
It's the Sharia.
Yeah. Was allowed somewhere, and then some people had the right, because that's what they thought, to kill anybody because you made some utterances, whether it was justified or not.
I think we should actually call a spade a spade. Let's not do some people. The truth is, there is a favoritism to the north in Nigeria that we see every day. Now, we're talking about the Uromi killings. I heard that, I don't know how true, but someone said the people attacked first. I don't know how true that is. I am not a part of jungle justice. It is the worst thing that you could ever do to a person. But then people are saying that they've had herdsmen kill them. People are being kidnapped from the same Uromi. They can't go to their farmlands because, ironically, the next day after that killing, there was a video that someone did of a Fulani herdsman in a bush in the same Benin, Edo State, with his cows, and they were eating they were eating the cassava.
Yeah. Yes.
And the person is now saying that if we attack this person and kill this person, they will say we are bad. But look at you in someone's farmland with your cows, killing the farm. Sorry, even in my place, people don't go to the farms anymore because of fear. These people are in the bushes everywhere. Now it's like, oh, we've gotten, as in it has gotten to this level, we really need to do something. Someone said nobody has monopoly on violence. Violence plus violence equal peace. I don't know.
I am totally against violence, but
it's looking like the Northerners are actually, there's a bias from the government.
Yeah, I'm glad that you use the word "it's looking like," because everybody who is in charge will deny that.
Obviously.
You see, but there's a guy who has been sentenced to death as we speak right now, because he defended himself in the north.
Yeah.
Whether the facts of the case were presented or not, the perception of the people, because justice is no justice until the people perceive it as being justice.
Yes,
that's what it is. So, well, the government and all the relevant authorities should make sure that people have the confidence in the judiciary and whatever agencies are involved. Otherwise, this thing, I was asking Valentine, he was keeping around it. I don't know, maybe because he was being careful. He's a security expert. They're always very careful. But I was asking him what can be done, because there's a possibility this thing might snowball into something that we cannot handle.
Yes.
It is. I mean, the whole situation is actually very tricky. I mean, I don't envy the security experts in this kind of situation. Neither do I envy those at the helm of affairs, security affairs, the decision making, the army, the military, the NSA, especially at this instance, because when you're dealing with regional conflicts, because this is it's gone beyond one locale. It has involved a region and another region. So it's more or less pitting the West against the North. So how do you handle this situation? Do you have to look at the beliefs of those in the North? Does it align with the beliefs of those in the West? Now, they have a particular belief.
And should they count?
Now,
should those beliefs count? That's the question. Should those beliefs count? Because if a tribe in Nigeria, for instance, are cannibals, those are their beliefs. They can eat somebody.
That's what I'm saying.
But if the Constitution does not allow that, should it count? It shouldn't count.
Just like the Constitution does not allow for jungle justice. I mean, but, they try to rationalize the killing of Deborah, and then, the same thing happened, but maybe on a larger scale, right? It's obviously on a larger scale, and they're looking at it like, why would you kill these people? So for me, I feel like handling this kind of situation in a way that we've seen constant communication from security apparatus. Immediately that crime happened, the Nigerian police force released their statement. They made some few arrests. They released a further statement saying that, look, investigation is still ongoing. And we've seen a lot of videos from residents in the North issuing damning statements, commanding statements, authoritative statements, just like you said.
Even a Kaduna police officer said.
A lot of people are saying a lot of things. So, no, I mean, you have a lot of different interests now. How do you satisfy these interests? Amicably. How do you make peace? So it's a very tricky situation, which, if we're not careful, might become a national chaos.
That's my fear, and I hope that those people who are
hope they are
responsible will do the right thing. If in Enugu State, we're wrapping up, guys. If in Enugu State, communities can be sacked by people coming all the way from the north, and they are sacking these communities and living in the communities. Then what will happen if they begin to talk about ranching?
Of course.
When somebody will come from maybe Sokoto State to come and own a ranch and begin to have 20 children a year in that locality, and before you know it, now that this thing is not there, that is the genuine fear. I'm not saying I'm against ranching. That's genuine fear.
It's the fear of a lot of people. I mean, the Fulanis are nomadic in nature. They are not the type that stay one place. They like to move around, and in moving around with their herds, sometimes they inflict a lot of damage. But which is the problem? When you have an agrarian community, and then you have
in my village, in the village I come from,
and then you have an agreement. I think nothing says that we can't live peacefully and coexist peacefully in Nigeria. We just have to understand and respect boundaries. There are boundaries, so it doesn't mean that you cannot lead your herds or your heads in a community in Edo State. But why take it to people's farms? I mean, why have your cows? Why have them eat people?
And it's possible because produce. I remember when
really
Fayoshe was Ekiti State governor, and he said, if any cow is seen, he gave them a part of the state to use. And he told them, if any cow is seen outside this area you have been given, even walking along the road, give the indigents the right to kill the cows, not the people, the cows.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want cows overrunning his state and destroying this. So that means there can be control for these things.
They
Then
can.
why is
Well,
it that the governor is not saying, the government
Whatever
is not
it
saying
is,
anything?
whoever is responsible, handle this case very, very wisely.
Cautiously.
Otherwise,
I need to say it.
it might be something else. Very briefly,
I got
please.
very, very disappointed when I saw that the state governor said the killings happen because they want to, the opposite, PDP wants to undermine his government. And I felt so
That's the
disappointed.
That's the political
16
undertone
people
we're talking
dead,
about.
and that is what you could come out
So
to see.
lots of
They were
undertones to
human
it.
beings, for God's sake. Forget tribe or wherever. They were human beings. And all you could say was PDP was trying to undermine. I just felt like, I'm done. Okay, I'm done.
Well, Nigeria should be peaceful. All of us should try to live as brothers and sisters. And everybody, no matter where you come from, you don't have any right to take the life of anybody else. If someone is a threat and you can overpower him, take him to the authorities. As simple as that. Deborah wouldn't have died if they took her to the authorities. The 16 people wouldn't have died if they took them to the authorities. But one thing is clear. If people don't go in and face the consequences of bad behavior, will continue to be the way we are. Well, let's take a short break. Is it even a break? Let's go look at the weather, and after that we go to the pyramids of Giza and see what they are. We took this video, it's not an original video, from somewhere else, and we're hoping that you're going to follow the link that we are going to provide for you as well to check it out in case you missed our own or you didn't see it to the end or something, you were busy about something else. So just watch.
In the heart of Egypt's ancient landscape, amidst the sprawling desert sands, rises a monument that has captivated the world for over 4,000 years. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the last of the 7 wonders of the ancient world still standing, is not just a marvel of engineering, it is a symbol of human ambition, mystery, and endurance. These colossal structures built by the ancient Egyptians are testaments to their advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, and architecture. But what lies beneath their stone exteriors? What stories do these massive structures tell? The pyramid was built as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, who reigned during the 4th dynasty around 2580 BC. It is believed that the Egyptians used a combination of skilled labor, ramps, and a keen understanding of mathematics to transport and position the massive stones. With over 2 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons, the Great Pyramid stands 481 feet tall, making it the largest of the 3 pyramids at Giza. Its precision, alignment to the stars, and sheer scale remain a source of awe and admiration. In the stillness of the desert, beneath the vast Egyptian sky, the Great Pyramid of Giza will remain, for as long as history endures, an eternal testament to the enduring power of human achievement.
Whenever I hear about the pyramids of Egypt in general and the civilization that existed in those days, it pains my heart to know that civilization actually started in Africa, and then they're making us look like we are the ones that are backward. And then we're allowing them to, because I know that now, even the pyramids we've been talking about for so many years, because of laser technology and all that, they've discovered so many more things.
And they just discovered
underneath.
the city underneath.
Good. So which means there are mysteries still there that we have not been able to fathom, and we may not be able to fathom
Yes,
yet.
we're uneducated.
We are the ones.
There's a song I'm sure it's a song you know, but you need to listen to the lyrics. It's a song by Nas, and the title is I Know I Can. I Know I Can.
Okay,
so go listen to the second verse, right, about ancient Egypt. Egypt is the home of ancient civilization.
Yes, now.
Like another rapper, KRS-One, guys, I love rap. So when I love intelligent rappers. I mean, and these guys are intelligent rappers who read a lot. So go listen to KRS-One and try and get enlightened. Egypt is actually one of the places. I mean, you have African countries in the Bible. Egypt, yes. Ethiopia.
Yes.
What does that tell you about Libya? These are countries that have long been in existence. So imagine the years BC, AD of existence. What does that tell you? Civilization obviously began from that place.
What about even the Benin Kingdom that we have?
We talk about all of these places, so many things.
For me, the shocker is how did we get to this level where we believe what the Western world tells us about us? I mean, someone was asked a question about Africa, and she's like, do people live there? Do they have buildings? They showed a literal video, and she said, this in Africa.
That's because that's what they are told.
So how did we allow it get to this level that we are now being told who we are instead of us knowing who we are?
Which is what we are doing here on Africa in View. We're trying to portray Africa the way it is.
It is.
And not the way they tell them that Africa is. No. That's
okay.
Not what it is.
So the first thing you do is when you go out to America, call moi 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 moi. Don't say it's bean cake or this and that. Give them their local names. Let them know. Let's be proud of what we have.
You didn't use the word puree. Maybe puree or something like that.
Anyway, that's the much we can take. We are proud Africans, and we hope that if you are an African, even if you don't live in Africa and you are, for generations now, your people have been outside, just be proud of this place called Africa. I think this is where the creation even started. And in fact, there are theories to that extent. But as we wrap up this show this morning, we hope that you who are not African will respect Africa the way they deserve to be respected. And you who are African will also be proud of your Africa and carry that flag of Africa and show the world that we're proud people. We are forward-thinking people. We are civilized people. And it is because of us the world will go round. My name is Nyamgul Agaji.
I'm Aghogho Ayanagho.
And Olamide Onwuka is here. Have a beautiful day.